Thank you for tuning in to the Afternoon Pint. This episode is sponsored by Camilla Najat of Exit Realty, Strategy Up Business Consultants, and ISS Atlantic Security Guard Services. Enjoy the show. Cheers!
Cheers!
And welcome to the Afternoon Pint. I'm Mike Tobin.
I am Matt Conrad, and who do we have here?
It's Jalen Philpot, wide receiver for the Calgary Stampeders.
What's up, Jalen?
Yeah, what's going on? You look a lot like a guest that we've had before.
Yeah, just 7 minutes older, that's it.
Your guys are twins?
We are identical twins. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
So yeah, anyone who remembers, we had Tyson on last year, almost around this time.
Yeah, I think so.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, it was.
And we tried to connect with you, and you were coming and going, stuff like that a little bit, but we finally got you on.
Yeah,
happy to have you.
I guess we missed the Tyson episode. So who are you? What do you do for a living?
I'm Jalen Philpot, obviously Tyson's twin. I play wide receiver for the Calgary Stampeders. Also play in the Canadian Football League. So
Amazing.
Yeah. It's and recently just signed.
I did, yeah. I re-signed with Calgary for another 2 years. So
I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I signed through 2026 now. So excited about that.
That's pretty exciting. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, been in Calgary for I want to say 7 years now. I even catch myself telling people I'm from Calgary.
Oh yeah.
So I'm adopting it. Vancouver guy. So some people think it's funny that I adopt Calgary over Vancouver just because everyone loves BC. But I love Alberta.
Calgary's awesome. I love Calgary too. What do you love the most about Calgary?
The people there, they're super cool. I feel like Vancouver has that kind of hipster, I want to be cooler than you kind of vibe sometimes. Right. And, having lived there, nobody's extra cooler than anyone
Calgary's
else.
A little more cowboy?
Yeah, it is. It is super more cowboy and no traffic. I think that's the biggest thing.
No traffic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I had that same experience. There's parts
really?
with traffic there. But like I guess by and large, you're right to the C train there.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant.
It is.
It's very well thought of city. They engineered it well.
Yeah.
And then the suburbs are weird too. They're all like the same suburb.
Yeah, they all look the same. Exactly.
You can get drop mat in like one Calgary suburb and not know which suburb you're in. Like you would think,
I've been to Calgary before.
Is this Okotoks or is this some other place? And a lot of them look very similar.
So true.
I mean, those are things you can do with cities that are like kind of on open land that you can do quadrants, and then you can just build like circles, because that's what they did in Calgary. They built outer circles, and then when the city gets bigger, they build another highway that goes around.
Yeah, the ring road we call it. Yeah,
right. It almost starts to look like a dartboard.
Yeah, it legit does. It's so efficient, though. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
When you don't have like your brother plays in Montreal. That's an island, so there's lots of traffic there.
Exactly.
And, like they have like 3 bridges, and that's it. And one of them might collapse at any moment.
Yeah, exactly. It drives me crazy whenever, especially when I go back to Vancouver too, and takes me an hour to get somewhere that should only take me 10 minutes, and it's just like I know I left this city for sure.
So shout out if you're listening to Vancouver.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. But I get it though, because you've been playing now in Calgary for a while.
Yeah.
Because that's where you went to university.
Yeah, exactly. Went to university in 2018 there, and obviously got drafted by Calgary 4 years ago now, so 2021 or 2022 actually. So yeah, it's just a city's definitely adopted me too, so it's super nice. They love the dinos there, Calgary Dinos. That's where I went. So and obviously, like you guys talked about with my brother, we won a national championship. So
that's right.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't done that. They tried to do it for 30 years, and I think we'd been in the Vanier 6 or 7 times in that 30-year span, and just couldn't get it done. Laval had our number for a couple of years.
They had everybody's number for 20 years.
Very true. Still do. They still do. They're still the dominant that they are. But and we finally got it done, and we were able to beat Montreal. So that was big for the city and just big for the program as well.
Yeah, that was cool. It must be also extra special, obviously, to win with your brother too.
Yeah,
right?
100%. We've definitely kind of gone back and forth with each other for MVPs and awards and stuff like that. So it was cool to finally do a national championship level trophy.
But you also had a really good game too, for the Vanier, because he scored a touchdown. I mean, he had over 100 yards.
It was a huge game for me. I mean, that year kind of was a proving year for me. It's funny with Tyson and I. It's like I said, it's one or the other. So. In high school, we were always back and forth. He'd win MVP, and I'd get like best running back. And then following year, I'd win MVP, and he'd get best receiver. Or
what's it really like though? Is there animosity there? I'd be like I'd be aggressively competitive.
No,
if my twin brother was in the same league as me, I'd be wanting to like crack his skull.
It's definitely very competitive. There's lots of chirping going on when we're in the car after the games and stuff like that. And just bringing us back to that Vanier year. Tyson unfortunately got injured training camp. I think he broke a metatarsal in his foot. So, but the previous year before that, he'd won Rookie of the Year and had a very dominant season, and had a decent year as a rookie, but obviously wasn't able to win Rookie of the Year like he won. So I kind of had a chip on my shoulder for that year, and obviously knowing that he was going to be out for a little bit, I was like, all right, let me take it on myself to prove myself and show my worth. And I was a first team All-Canadian that year as well, and I think I led the league, or top 3. I think I led the top 3 in the league for like average yards per game and stuff. Amazing. So really good year for me, for sure.
So going back, when you were talking about like in high school and stuff like that, and you were talking about you were a running back.
Yep.
So I didn't know that you were running back in high school.
Yeah.
But what I did notice, and this is starting to make a lot of sense, because 20% of your yards are rushing yards.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So it still happens in the CFL. They still take advantage of that. I mean, it's crazy. It's a funny story how I switched from running back to receiver. So my dad
was a running back.
Yeah, he was a running back. He played in the CFL. I was very fortunate to have some good years there, and so I definitely took after him growing up. Wanted to be like him, modeled my game after him. His nickname was Quick Six, so he liked to score touchdowns fast, essentially. That's why he got that nickname. So, just trying to be like him, and played running back up until, obviously, university. I also played running back for Team Canada and stuff like that. So, they kind of got offered to play running back, and I also got offered to play DB a little bit, but I knew I wanted to play offense. So it was kind of like, hey, do you want to play running back or do you want to play receiver? And I just remember watching practice and watching Tyson score so many times in practice versus as a running back. Linebackers and D-line, they like to tag off on you and tell you like, hey, you're tackled. And that just really got to me. Tyson was dominantly scoring, when as a receiver, if you catch a 70-yard touchdown on someone, they can't say anything about that. So something about that intrigued me a little bit. So I was like, let me go play wide receiver and test that out a little bit.
So when did you switch?
So first year university.
It was first year. It was first year. So first you came right out and just went over.
Yeah, right away. Just went straight to wide receiver, and definitely had some learning curves for sure. Tracking the ball downfield was different for me. Yeah. Obviously, I got the ball handed off to me right away. So just having that ball right away was such a nice feeling. So I had to work on catching a little bit and work with Tyson a little bit, but he was pretty good at that. So it was easy teacher.
It's really good. Yeah, because you often see running backs be like the check down guys.
Yep.
You don't see it often that the receiver is a running back. Yeah. You see it sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
Not too much. But I just noticed that, especially your CFL career, it's been,
they definitely have sprinkled in some running plays here and there. I think I've averaged 100 yards per year. I think my carry average is around 7 or 8 yards. So pretty efficient for sure. And again, when I get in that backfield and I take handoffs, I just feel like a natural running back again. I played it for a while. So super comfortable, and I'm excited. This year they've kind of mentioned that we're really going to get into it and have me some design plays and stuff like that, kind of like a Deebo Samuel effect kind of with the 49ers. So super excited just to be involved that way, and just any way I can touch the ball and make some plays.
So Deebo Samuel is probably a better way to now. I'm a Patriots fan. He was in the Patriots for a long time, but he stayed there, and I really appreciated him. Was Cordarrelle Patterson, and that's kind of what I was seeing you as, because you were 100%. Doing you'd also do
returns and stuff like that. Yeah, Cordarelle Patterson, man,
he Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he is, and I mean that's funny that you say that, because that's what they call me in Calgary.
There you go.
Any of the interviews, they'll be like, "Yeah, that's our Swiss Army knife." So I mean, I did special teams and stuff like that too. My first year, led the league, and kickoff return, average yards too. So just been kind of one of those guys where I just want to make plays whenever the ball gets in my hand. So
just a natural football player.
Exactly. Whatever that is, running back, receiver, whatever.
Bill Belichick would love you.
I'd love to have Bill Belichick as a coach too.
It's like it's a win-win. It's all about just playing football, right? I mean, you must be like a pretty freak athlete, because if you're sitting there playing receiver, running back, and DB, we talked about this with your brother about how DBs are generally the most athletic.
100%, they are. Yeah, they definitely are. I just feel like I got to give a lot of credit obviously to my dad, and just, I mean, my football IQ. I just love the game of football. I can sit down and talk about it, decipher defenses, coverages, stuff like that. That's why I always feel like there's a coaching is going to come in later on in my career, just because just the game of football is just super. If you dive into it, there's a lot of intricacies, and it's almost like a chess match back and forth with coordinators. So I just find it so cool. So, I mean, to be still playing and to be able to look into kind of that depth, I think it helps out my game for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I hope you get into coaching. I mean, I'd love to start coaching. I mean, I never played at your level, but I played up until about 2-3 years ago.
100%.
And, played, and I really enjoyed it, but I'd like to eventually maybe get into coaching. My son, when he's only 3, but I'd like to get into coaching when he can start playing. Right?
Yeah, no, it's so cool. And it's also like a full circle moment for me, obviously with the Stamps, getting to do all these kind of kids camps and all that kind of stuff. Because obviously I'm a Canadian. I was born in Canada, so I grew up on the CFL and doing all those little camps and stuff with the CFL players coming and just watching us run around and do that kind of stuff. I was always that kid that was like, I'm going to be playing in this league beside you. You might not know it yet, but I'm going to do it. So it's so cool for me to be able to go to those camps and look for those kind of kids, the ones that are challenging me and, hey, I'm better than you. And I'm
see that a lot?
I do see it a lot. And it's interesting because I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow you on Instagram because I feel like you do have some talent and I'm interested to see your career, especially as a Canadian. I think it's super cool.
Heck yeah. I love that.
I think it's super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, right now, especially, you want to, in the times we're in, we want to pump up Canada.
100%.
Oh,
exactly.
Good year to pump up Canada, man.
Definitely is.
That being said, man, can we just go to 4 downs?
I agree. I
think anyone who's played football agrees to this. Why can't we just do it?
Yeah, I think 4 downs, you keep the rules the same. You keep the field the same. You just add an extra down. And I think it just adds an extra excitement to the game. I know defensive coordinators don't want that. There's already so much passing and so many offenses.
So I'm going to jump in just for a few seconds here. Now, this is for people that, say, okay, I watched the NFL for years.
Right.
This year I'm going to watch CFL.
Okay. Yep.
When does it start?
It starts in June. Yeah, season starts in June, about mid-June.
They're a summer league.
Summer league.
Yeah.
Okay. And when does it end?
It ends November. I think the Grey Cup's around November 20th this year. So.
And where people watch the games?
Well, indoor stadiums, BC. Or sorry,
on
TSN.
television.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So on television, we got it on TSN.
Right.
I think they've recently reached out to Sportsnet. There was another, or maybe it was CTV. I think I want to say it was CTV. They were covering some of the games, more of the East Coast games. So for the people in Nova Scotia, Ottawa had a lot of the games. I know Montreal did as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, TSN and CTV, I think those are the 2 main places right now to find all the games.
And how do we make it 4 downs? This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro.
Well, there actually is no commissioner right now, so I think if there was a chance, he just resigned. And I know the season schedule got delayed just because they've been trying to find a commissioner and somebody to kind of approve all the stuff. So
all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, give it to Matt. And my last newbie question: why should people watch the CFL instead of the NFL?
I think just about our point too, just growing the Canadian game. It's funny that a lot of people don't know that the CFL was around before the NFL.
Yeah. So it's an older game.
Yeah, it was. It was founded.
We actually
before.
taught the Americans football.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously, it's our sport.
I want to see that heritage moment.
It's our sport. Yeah. So what happened was, in case you don't know the history, but it was rugby was brought to North America, and then basically what happened was mostly Canada, because we were in Canada first. I mean, people were playing rugby. And the rules started to modify a little bit in Canada and stayed kind of the same, because they have Gaelic football over in Ireland and the UK and stuff, right? And the rules started to kind of change, and then it was taught spread down to the New England states and all that stuff, and they started to make their own rules. The thing that people don't realize is that the rules, it's not like Canada ripped off the United States or the United States ripped off Canada. The rules actually were, because this is 100 years ago and there's no internet, they were created separately. They were actually at the exact same parallel times, kind of modifying and evolving the sport at the exact same time.
What year-ish was that? Like 1900s?
Yeah. 1800s.
Yeah,
the Grey Cup's been going around for... Yeah. Oh, no, maybe. Hold on. No,
I think early 1900s.
It's like 1904. Yeah,
okay,
so it was early.
It's real early.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're over 100 Grey Cups now.
Yeah,
so
it's like 117 Grey Cups
there.
or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Super Bowl's at 100 yet. I don't
And I'm almost done
Super Bowl's not. Super Bowl, their first year was 67.
Yeah, okay.
But before that, they had the NFL championship.
Right, before NFC.
And they had the AFL champion. NFL, AFL joined to become the NFL.
Yeah, I do remember that,
Yeah.
So
And the football, why is it still bigger?
Yeah. So I think, don't quote me on this. I think there was like 2018, they made a little bit of a change to the CFL ball. So I think it's similar. I think it's a little fatter still, but they like the lengthwise and stuff is the exact same. And also a difference on it is the NFL ball doesn't have like a white spiral on the tip of it,
right?
Versus CFL does. It does make a big difference. Going down the States trying to catch some of those NFL footballs, it's a lot harder to track without that white spiral on it. So.
I'm really sorry, man. You can tell I don't watch a lot of sports. Right? I'm trying here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's my sports sessions for dummies, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's exactly what we need, though. Because there's probably people who are going to listen to this and be like, I don't know anything about football.
Yeah, well, like I want to invest in Canadian sports, and I think like a really cool thing to do this year is like spend some time watching CFL.
For
right?
sure.
I watch the Super Bowl every year, right? And
everyone does. Yeah, Super Bowl parties.
The Grey Cup had, in my opinion, a better act.
Oh,
I know he's a Kendrick guy. He's a Kendrick guy. No, they had Green Day.
So Tyson's year. Tyson's year, yeah.
They had Green
Hamilton,
Day.
Yeah. I was at that. And
Green Day is awesome.
Yeah,
they're both awesome artists in their own right. I don't even want to say nothing bad about either one of them. Kendrick Lamar, though, I think is
no, I think it was a great show.
That was a cultural moment. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Well, you and I both agreed that I think I'm not even a big Kendrick fan.
Yeah, I was blown away. Like I felt like I went to a rap concert.
Yeah, no, it was like
no, he did a great job.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually liked how he went like kind of a little bit back to basics. Like it wasn't extravagant. Like he was, Katy Perry rode like a dinosaur and, like the weekend ran through.
You don't
all
need
this
to do
things.
anything when you got Samuel Jackson with you.
It's very good.
That's
a very good.
Like he just,
but like
so
some of the
better.
best shows to me were like Tom Petty and Prince. I think is honestly the standard for me.
Right.
Yeah, Prince.
Prince was one of the best. 100%.
Yeah.
That's the.
And he didn't do anything.
I'm too young to remember Michael Jackson. I never saw Michael Jackson.
Neither,
I saw it,
but he was the
clips of it,
original,
like later. But
Michael Jackson, like MJ, was like the original of the superstars because before that they used to just have like the Oklahoma band.
Here's
like
Jim and his band.
You might get the odd person to come out and sing or whatever, but it was like Michael Jackson was a mega star and he decided to do the halftime show, and like from that point on, it was like, why are we doing this every year?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you got so ridiculous at one time. There was like years where there was like 9 stars. Like the year, like the Janet Jackson.
Yeah,
everybody knows about that year, but like. She was there. JT was there. Kid Rock was there.
Yeah.
Diddy was there.
Yeah.
A minor. But like, man, like it's a crazy history, right?
And they don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
They don't get paid for it.
But their sales go nuts.
No, I know. The next day, that's just
trade off.
Kendrick Lamar's sales were up 421%.
Yeah, I see
the next day. Or
no, they get paid.
Spotify.
It's just not from the NFL.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
That guy's having a crazy year, right? Poor Drake.
Yeah.
And I want to support. I want to support Drake for being a Canadian, but it's just like
He had a bad week. The Grammys happened, and then the Super Bowl happened the next week.
True enough.
That was a rough week.
It was. I'm a Drake fan, so it's a tough year for us, but he'll bounce back. He always does.
I hope so. Yeah, but I just heard that new album though.
Yeah, I know.
He still maybe he'll come back with another album.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to. It wasn't the one we were looking for. That's for sure.
No,
it wasn't.
Oh my gosh! Sorry to go way off track.
Whatever. That's my
It is
what it is. That's kind of part of the show. A little bit of a tangent, a little bit. So, I mean, I agree. People need to watch CFL more.
Yep.
Support it. I mean, we lost Touchdown Atlantic last year.
So unfortunate.
2 years in a row, and I think they were a huge success.
Yeah.
I actually covered it 2 years.
Oh, really?
I wrote articles for it 2 years in a row.
That's cool.
And I was excited to do for a third. And
why did we lose it? Because it seemed to be selling okay.
You know what? It makes no sense. So what's his name?
Toronto.
Ambrose,
I heard something about Toronto.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So what I heard is that Toronto always played in it out here, and so their ticket sales for home games last year went up. So they always had to give, basically like take away a home game to come play in it. So their ticket sales went up. So they were like, hey, like we don't want to come to Nova Scotia. We want to stay and play a home game.
Makes sense.
So that's one of the reasons why, I mean, we're out in Calgary. We're like, we'll go, like, but they don't want to pay for our travel from Calgary to Nova Scotia, I guess.
I mean, it can't be that bad, but I mean,
I don't know. We always want it. Like a lot of the West Coast
a whole bunch of rabid new fans.
I think next year you bring it back and it's Calgary versus Montreal.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
And Alberta
right?
and the Maritimes, they do have a real deep connection. Like
do they?
From labor, right? Because I mean, so many Newfoundlanders, Nova Scotians go over there to work.
True.
A lot of great relationships over the years.
Yeah, there's tons of Maritimers in Calgary.
Decades.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that I'd volunteer once Nova Scotia got a CFL team. I would sign up easily. Like, come pick me for sure. So
yeah, I'd love to see it, but we got to start supporting it as a national sport first.
And true enough.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, as much as they're very different strategically. I mean, we were talking about the 4 downs versus 3 downs. For anyone who doesn't really understand,
super different.
The Rouge is different.
Yeah. So there's 1 point. You can either miss the field goal or punt the ball through the back of the end zone and you get 1 point. So there's been a lot of controversy over that because team, I think it was Toronto versus Saskatchewan this year. I can't remember exactly, but basically Toronto didn't even need to make the field goal. They just had to kick it very far so that it just went through the end zone. So they're kind of saying like it's for
no skill.
Exactly. No skill. Just miss the field goal and just win by 1 point. So.
Basically, as long as you kick it and it goes through the end zone and the person, because if you kick it far enough and someone can return it, that's why when you see any field goal in the CFL, someone's standing in the end zone waiting for the ball to drop so they can at least run it out.
Right.
And then there's no point.
Yeah.
But if you can kick it past through, it's a point, and you can't return it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. So
I think I told your brother in the podcast, I actually lost a football game that was rainy and we lost 1-0.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So there's guys like you who would love to see that rule gone, I'm sure. Like,
yes.
Yeah, no, it's a funny way to win, but I mean, it's part of the rules, so you got to use it as your advantage. So I can't say I've ever lost by that. I know Tyson had a very controversial game. I want to say it was his rookie year. And same kind of thing. They were tied going into it, and I think it was against Winnipeg, and they went to kick the game-winning field goal, and they missed. So he was in the back of the end zone, and he caught in the back, and basically had to juke out 4 or 5 guys just to get out of the end zone. And everyone was talking about like how that's the play of the game. Like, doesn't matter about what happened in the rest of the game. Like, if he doesn't do that, they don't win. So it is pretty crazy how it can come down to that. So
yeah. So yeah, you were saying about other rules. I mean, the field's different. Fields
bigger.
is wider, bigger, longer.
Yep.
The end zone. This is another thing I would actually change. Goalpost got to be in the back
of the end zone. I know. It's in the way.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sure if you're trying to run up the middle, that's in the middle, or if you're trying to receive anything, it's like it's in the way of throwing.
So we had So what are we doing better?
What we're doing.
Those are some of the things we do. Like
what we're doing better is I think actually with the receivers being able to start running.
Yeah, waggling.
Is way better versus like you have to be stopped. I mean. If you're the wideouts, you have in the NFL you have to have 2 wideouts on the line. Yeah. They can't move. They have to be rested so that are dead stop and they have to go. Now anyone, it's hard to get into technical formation or whatever. But basically, there's also receivers. You can have 1 or 2 receivers that are not on the line that can move around all they want. Yeah. But it's only those ones who can move around all they want. Right. Versus the CFL, they can all just, the line is just there. It's just the O lineman, and then they can just go. Yeah. Right.
So it's a lot more, I'd say, confusing for like defensive players. Obviously, you got guys moving from side to side and trying to watch that. But when you say what are we doing better, technically, like stat wise, Canadian football is a more fun and explosive game. Like our offensive numbers we have higher passing yards, higher, I don't know about rushing yards, but I know passing yards for sure. I know like our touchdowns and stuff like that, like points per game is way higher in the CFL. And one of the reasons why they don't want to remove 3 downs to 4 is because special teams is supposed to be like something that you can win the game on basically. In CFL, like NFL, they've changed the kickoff return and stuff. So there's not really anything exciting going on with special teams, but with CFL, they want you to return. So like returners, have a 5-yard halo when they're receiving the ball so that they have to run the ball. You can't just fair catch it and not run.
Oh, okay.
So they're really trying to enforce. That's why that rouge rule is there too. You can run it out. They just really want to try to make it a part of the game for sure. Special
the
teams.
NFL has essentially like ruined special teams.
They have, yeah.
They have ruined a lot of the things. Like they've taken a lot of the things away. Like I think of a guy like, going back, Patriots fan, guy like Matt Slater, who was like a decade long, like Pro Bowler, one of the best special teams guys you'd ever see. We won't see guys like him.
No,
anymore.
you won't. You won't at all. You won't. Unless you're watching CFL football. That's
Unless
the only
you're watching
time.
CFL football.
That's the only time.
They're the only ones.
Those are your performers. Like those are the funnest people to watch sometimes. Like,
well, special teams, yes and no. I mean, special teams. The highlights that people see in special teams is like, a guy just returned 105 yards, touchdown, right? And everyone and he just missed. He missed the whole team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like that's exciting.
Super exciting.
Right?
Yeah,
cool.
Super exciting.
And we're never getting.
Is this a good time to announce of the new afternoon pint special teams T-shirts that we're going to be putting out?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that would be awesome.
That would be, yeah.
Guys, it's red. It's only $30, and you can find it on our website.
Yeah, there you go. It's red like the Calgary.
Yeah, exactly.
Red like
Perfect.
Calgary.
I'll
Exactly.
take one.
Yeah.
I'll take one.
So with football, obviously we got from your dad, kind of going, I guess, back to, back when you were kids and everything.
Yep.
You got it from your dad, but were both you and your brother like instantly like, yeah, we want to play football?
Yeah, I definitely have memory of football from day one. I remember playing football in my house, tackling my brother. Like we were just constantly going at it. But obviously my dad, he was just always involved with it. He played for a while, but ever since I can remember, he was either my coach or coaching other people. So I spent a lot of afternoons on the football field. He coached junior football in BC. So that's like 17, 18, 19-year-olds. I think it even goes up to 23-year-olds. So I was basically watching semi-pro and was surrounded by guys who were semi-pro and wanting to go to the higher levels. So I just kind of always found that was super cool and always trying to show the guys like, hey, I can do this, I can do that. So I think from a young age, there was just that kind of determination. I mean, and if you ask Tyson too, we always used to hear like, do you know who your dad is? Do you know what he did? Those kind of things. So we would always respond like, do you know who we are? Do you know what we're going to do? Kind of thing.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we always had that chip on our shoulder and we felt like, okay, if he was this great, we're going to be better. So I think that really helped with our motivation to play.
So who influenced you when you were younger? Outside of your dad, obviously.
Outside of my dad?
Like, you're watching guys and you're growing up and you're saying like, who influenced your style of play or anything like that?
Yeah, I was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Yeah.
That's my team still to this day. It's funny, the colors that I wore as a 6 and 7-year-old were Pittsburgh Steelers colors, so I want to say that influenced me, but I was a big Rashad Mendenhall fan.
Okay.
You got to be like a diehard Steelers fan to kind of remember that name, or a football fan for a while, but he was really explosive. He was fast. Like he kind of had all the traits, and I think he was one of those early running backs to catch the ball out of the backfield as well.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know my dad had good hands, but I've seen some tape from him and he had some pretty good hands. So I guess that's where it came from. But yeah, just that receiving kind of and fast running back. I'd say he from an early age for sure. It's definitely transitioned to receivers now.
Yep.
Model my game after Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
Obviously we talk about Deebo Samuel, guys like that kind of just do everything. Super influential to their team, just kind of plug me in, coach, and I'll do whatever I got to do. So those are guys that I really look up to for sure.
Yeah. Jefferson's another freak
he's
athlete.
A stud. Yeah, he's a stud. And there's that receiver show on Netflix, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
They kind of got to pick his brain and see what he does on a day-to-day basis when he's not around football. Yeah. And I think we're just super similar off the field too. So he's an overall super cool guy.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Strategy Up. Strategy Up is a business consulting firm led by Mark Zerka, who has over 20 years' experience in building commercial strategies that will up your game, organize your teams, increase your productivity, and grow your business.
Whether you're a construction company looking to grow your revenue or a busy restaurant owner just trying to keep the doors open, Strategy Up can help. Strategy Up's boutique-style consultations will help you improve business process across nearly any industry.
Being a successful entrepreneur does not mean you have to be an expert in everything. Strategy Up specializes in building a relationship with you. Once pain points in the business are realized, Strategy Up will introduce process and technology that will power up your game to the next level.
A successful business requires investment. Your next step towards growth starts now. Email info@mystrategyup.com for a free business discovery call. Up your game with Strategy Up.
So yeah, Steelers. What do you think of like that stuff right now?
Yeah.
Do you think it's time to move on from Tomlin?
I feel like that is a conversation that needs to be had for sure. I mean, 18 or 19 or 18 in a row, I think, where he's plus 500. So they've been even, you know.
Yeah, he's winning.
Yeah, he's winning, but obviously we're not winning those. Exactly. That's the unfortunate thing. We've been the kings of regular season, dominant, going into the playoffs with 2 wins and then not making it past first round. So I want to give him one more year. You know, there's some rumors, stuff going on right now with our quarterback situation. Obviously, I don't think we're bringing Russ back.
Doesn't seem that way.
I think Fields, you know, if we get rid of Russ, it would be smart to bring him back. But I mean, there's been rumors that we're leaning towards Aaron Rodgers right now. So
I've heard,
So we'll see. You know, I'm a fan of Aaron Rodgers. He was a stud at one point, so I think it'll be interesting. You know, I think that is a guy though that we could bring in and potentially, you know, make a run for a championship. You know, I feel like we're not in the time to develop a guy. I think we're ready to just bring a guy in, and we have the team. Obviously, we went 12-3, so our defense is solid.
Yeah, so, defense is fantastic.
Yeah, so let's go for a championship. So I'm interested to see what happens here in the next year or two. Yeah. But I think that Mike Tomlin might be on the chopping block coming up soon, though. Not gonna
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. King of. I mean, he did win. Like,
he does.
He won early in his year. Like he did win a championship. But ever since then, I often wonder if it's because of the player coach mentality.
Fair enough.
Of like he's just too like player coach is kind of a term for someone like a coach like just can't be firm. He's like catering to the players
relaxed,
and all. It's really relaxed.
Players
right?
coach. That's
players coach kind of thing, right? So it's like, it might be that. I mean, the players will play for you.
They definitely will. Yeah,
they show up, they win, they have winning seasons. He's right now, I believe he's the longest, like most consecutive coach for plus 500 team, plus 500 wins, winning seasons, whatever.
Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah.
But
I know it's one of those things. We'll see, but I feel like he's won the championships already, so that's why I'm not mad at it. You know, but it is unfortunate that I think Steelers. He's the 3rd or 4th head coach in franchise. So
that's huge.
It's like if you look at all the other, like Oakland, for instance, I think they had 8 new coaches in the last 2 years or something like that. So we're one of those storied franchises, so it is bittersweet, but
that is a huge accomplishment.
It is.
Like when you think about a franchise that has been around for, I don't even know what it is, like 60 years.
Oh yeah.
And they've had 3 head coaches.
Yeah.
It's huge, right? Yeah. That is huge.
Yeah.
So I mean, good culture.
For sure.
Good football culture.
It is. And I know it's kind of crazy too. One of the stories, so my first year, obviously, I got injured towards the end of the season in the CFL, and the first team that called me up for an NFL workout was the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was unfortunate because I was hurt. So it was, but Tyson got to go and do the camp.
He did say that.
He got to go do the camp for me, so it was super cool, and he brought me a cool little memorabilia. So. Felt that.
Could have showed up with just your name.
I know. He could have easily done that. I know,
just
right?
showed up and like, what are you talking about? I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
And they think that you were amazing because they knew you got hurt.
For sure.
And then this guy out there just doing
just
like,
back.
Wasn't he just hurt like a month ago?
That's so true. I should have done that, honestly. And that's one of the questions I always get too is, do you and Tyson pretend to be each other? Right. In high school, people used to ask us that too. And it's like, no, I don't want to pretend to be Tyson. Like,
that's fair.
You know, we're our own person. I think that's definitely grown now with us playing on separate teams. Yep. That was one of the big things. Even when we were getting drafted, teams would ask us like, hey, you guys going to be okay playing apart from each other? Like, you've played together for your whole life. And we're like, yes, we want to play apart from each other. Like, we're ready to make our own paths and stuff. So
that probably happens a lot with twins, eh?
Yeah.
Like, you just get grouped as one person.
Exactly. 100%. I don't think there was a time where I'd get asked, hey, where's Tyson? When I walk into a room alone, it's like, I don't know where Tyson is. Go ask him, kind of thing. But
twin intuition. Just
but I definitely think there's pros and cons to that though too, because I was never bored. Like that's one thing as a kid, never bored. You know, I always had someone to pick on or get under his skin or do something, or if we're outside playing basketball, we're playing together. So I think there is some pros and cons to it, and I'm definitely grateful for it, for sure.
So moving from university to CFL, like what was the biggest, like we asked this Tyson too, what was the hardest transition for you? Like the biggest shock of like, oh shit.
I think it was the commitment level, you know, obviously you're in university, right? So you're taking university style courses and hard classes and stuff, but then they're expecting you to be this, you know, we had full rides, so we were expected to be these all-star football players, but it was like, hold on, like trying to learn how to do math and all these university courses, and then we got 8 a.m. workouts where a class starts at 10 a.m. So you're banging out your workout for an hour and a half, and then straight from that you're to class, and then you're expected to go straight to the stadium after that because your first meeting starts at 3:00. So hopefully you line your schedule up where you could maybe go home and have a snack or something. Right. I know there were some days for me where it was straight to the stadium after school, and then you're in your first meeting for an hour, and then you go to your after that it's special teams, and then you go to offensive meeting, and then you might have like a short 30-minute team meeting, and then we're on the field, which is around 6:00, and 6 to 8 you're practicing, and then you got another meeting after that. So we're getting out of the stadium at around 9:30, and then it's like, oh, we're supposed to go home and study. Like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, right? So that was definitely, I think, the biggest shell shock to me was, okay, I got to be committed, and no one's going to hold my hand, you know. Like I know guys who just couldn't handle it, you know, just too much on their plate, and they decided either, hey, I just want to focus on school, or I want to focus on something outside of football. So I felt like that was one of the biggest thing, you know, the commitment level. But you definitely find that if you want it bad enough, you'll find a love for it. And I definitely felt like I did. And I just got a good schedule and got lots of peers that were able to help me. And University of Calgary was awesome with that, with tutors and just little stuff like that, just to make sure your grades and everything's on point and you're eligible to play. So
so then you get drafted, and you get to stay in the same city. You don't have to move.
No, that was super.
That's probably awesome.
That was super cool.
So then going to the CFL, what was the biggest shock for that? You know, moving from university to CFL. Yeah,
so I'd say it's the opposite. It's the free time, you know, in the CFL. Yeah, we have rules where you can only be at the stadium. Like the team can only keep you at the stadium for, I think it's 4 or 4.5 hours.
Part of the CBA.
Yeah, it's part of our players agreement. So you can't be there for longer than 4 hours. So it's like, okay, I show up, I do my meetings, 8 a.m. as well. We're on the field at 10, and you're out of there by 2:00. And obviously I'll stick around and do some stuff on my own, and hot tub, cold tub, that kind of stuff. But other than that, they can't physically keep you there. So it's like, okay, what do I do for the rest of my time? It's 2:00 and I got nothing to do, kind of thing. So I feel like delegating that has been one of the biggest things, you know, just trying to improve my investments outside of football, and also just making sure my body's right and everything's healthy. And it's a long season. I'd say that's also another thing too.
True. Yeah. It is a long season.
Yeah. Coming from U Sports College, you play 8 games in a regular season. And then if you're lucky, you'll play another 4 in playoffs, and that's the national championship.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Other than that, you're getting lucky with 8 or 9 games a season. And then in the CFL, it's 18 games. So
yeah, but it's 18 games, but it's 20 weeks.
Yeah, it's 20 weeks. We got 3 bye weeks in there. So that was one of the bigger things my first year. I was like, holy, we're at week 10 and we're not even halfway through the season. That's the thing that kind of they say in the CFL is the season doesn't start till Labor Day, which is September. Yeah. So it's like the first 2 or 3 months don't count. Like, what does that mean? So I didn't understand that.
Counts if you have all losses.
Exactly. So that was the one thing. A lot of the players were like, okay, you got to make sure that you keep yourself ready because these first 8 games do not matter at all. And so I'd say, it was pretty big. Just like, okay, I don't know how to play, but not make sure I'm not getting injured was one of those things. But
then you did get injured. Yeah. And you missed a whole year.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Never dealt with anything like that before. It was an off-season injury. I got through my first year, pretty unscathed, a couple bangs and bruises here and there. But yeah, just off-season training. It was around this time 2 years ago. Just was on the field and not doing anything I don't usually do, you know, just made a plant and something didn't feel right. It kind of just felt like that feeling when your leg falls asleep, just tingly and nummy kind of thing. And I was just like, I've never felt that before. So something going on, and kind of a week went by, and I was getting some treatment. Didn't feel right at all, but it was getting better for sure. Like I started getting movement back in my leg and stuff like that, versus I didn't really have very much movement the first couple of days. And went and saw, first I saw X-ray guy, and he basically was like, okay, we're going to take some pictures of your leg, and then we'll give you a call back maybe to schedule an MRI or something. And he didn't even end up calling me back. It was the MRI office calling me, and they're like, hey, so I heard your surgery's scheduled for a couple days here. We need to get you in for a picture. And I was like, surgery? Like, I'm not even sure what you guys are talking about, kind of thing. And just thought it was maybe just a trick to get me in for imaging early, kind of thing, and then go to the MRI. And they're like, yeah, like we really want to show you the pictures after because it's super cool. And obviously your surgery's in 2 days. And I was like, okay, they said it 2 or 3 times now. Something is starting to kind of click. Yeah, it's not a good sign. So, and then I received a call literally later that day from the x-ray guy, and he was like, yeah, man, like we knew right away off the x-ray. I completely tore my hamstring off my bone. So off my hip bone. So it's called a proximal hamstring tear. So yeah, it was 4 centimeters down my leg. So not even attached at all. And they kind of asked me like, how did you do this? And I was like, I just planted, right? And he was like, well, we see this in like someone deficit squatting 800 pounds, like to clean tear off your hamstring is very uncommon. And at that time, I had never heard of anyone who had done that. So it was kind of scary a little bit, you know, just not being able to compare yourself to anyone. And they telling you like, yeah, you're going to be out for the whole year kind of thing. And I was like, well, the season hasn't even started yet. So, and I just started my off season training and stuff. So very surreal moment for sure. Never dealt with anything like that before, but just being able to overcome that and just work super hard and kind of, you know, I felt like I was robbed almost of a great year. Tyson had a great year when he won the Grey Cup, obviously.
Won
so
MVP, Canadian MVP.
You know, and he just did really well. So it was bittersweet for sure watching him, but I was just very proud and glad that.
Gotta be proud, man.
For sure.
I mean, it's your brother.
Yeah,
right? You still beat his ass.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, the next day. Yeah, but that's pretty
and
awesome.
if there's anyone I wanted to see win the Grey Cup, it would be Montreal for sure, too.
Yeah, so, that's fair. I mean, but it must be a dream.
But now it's your turn, right?
Exactly.
Well, I was like, would it not be a dream for like Calgary to beat Montreal in the Grey Cup?
Yes, I've been dreaming of it. I've been envisioning it. Like
he got something over you now, right?
Oh yeah, he definitely does. You know, I had the being drafted first. I could hold that over him, but now he's definitely got me. He's got a little piece of hardware. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I would love to see that. Honestly, that'd be amazing to see. You know, Calgary, Montreal go for the Grey Cup.
Oh, I'm excited.
It'd be really cool.
It's one of those things that could happen too. Obviously, with the East and West and how the playoffs work out and stuff like that, we could definitely play each other for. We wanted to do it last year, honestly. That was because it was in Vancouver where we're both from, right? East and West. We thought it was going to be awesome. Obviously, he unfortunately had an injury, and we kind of stunk the bed last year. So not a great year for us.
Sibling rivalry question for you. Okay, this should be on our 10 questions, but I just thought of it now. Aside from football, what's something you're better than your brother at?
Oh
yeah. So I'd say hockey.
Hockey?
You got
him in hockey?
That was my first love. I'm not going to lie.
He did talk about hockey too, though.
Yeah. So we both played ball hockey for 8 years growing up. We played on all the provincial rep teams in BC, and we were supposed to start ice hockey, but it was just one of those things where it was like football and hockey, and obviously you got to choose one that you care about more, and we at the time couldn't, so we were supposed to, but I was always the guy that was out there playing roller hockey. Like I put on my roller skates just imitating like I was skating, and they always wanted to play with shoes, and I was like, no, we want to play with roller skates, make it as realistic as you can. So I would be out there playing on roller skates while they're all in shoes. So I was definitely at a disadvantage, but it definitely helped my skating and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So
and now I'll ask the same question. Just be humble for a minute.
Okay.
What your brother got you on that's not football? I won't ask about football.
If I'm going to admit it, that something that he'd like to hear me say is he's faster than me. So he does have me on that. In a straight line, long race, he's got me. I got him off the start, but like he's always been the 200 meter. Like that's been his.
But that
race,
makes sense if you come from a running back. Like you're more explosive off the get go, and he can go longer.
Yeah, exactly. Over the top.
Sense.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah,
cool.
Good question though. I like that.
There you go.
But so yeah, what do you see next for you? Obviously, you see a championship, but like, what are your goals? You know, for this upcoming year, outside of winning a championship, what do you want to do?
I got lots of goals. You know, it's last year I was able to finish third on my team in receiving yards.
Yeah, you had an up year. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely had an up year. Obviously, coming from not playing, so it's got to be up from that. But even from my first year,
that's what I meant.
Yeah. Even from my first year, you know, it's just the team. I just feel like, you know, I was able to capitalize on some of the plays that they were putting me in. And obviously last year they didn't want to overload me. That was one of the big things where it was like, you know, I felt 100, but you never really kind of know until you play football again. Right. You know, I could do everything.
Especially against other pros.
Exactly. Get hit again, all that kind of thing. You know, I've never missed an entire year of football. COVID year, obviously, but I was training, doing all that kind of stuff. So I was still in it. Being robbed and having to sit on your butt for 4 or 5 months and just watch people play. It was definitely different for me, but just slowly easing myself back in. You know, I think it was about week 2 or 3 where I started to really feel myself again and feel like, okay, yeah, I can do this. So, some big goals this year, obviously got the new contract this year. So really looking to go and show the team that like they made a great investment in me and that, I'm here to stay and I'm here to help the team win. That was one of the big things for me is I just really wanted to show my worth kind of, obviously I was a first round draft pick and dealt with injuries here and there. So I got a big chip on my shoulder and just super excited to show the team like, hey, I'm a guy, and obviously everyone knows about Tyson. They've seen what Tyson's been doing. I mean, when we played them, he had 10 grabs for 115, 20 yards, and he iced the game on a big catch and kind of standing on the sideline, like looking at my team like, hey, like, I could do that. Just put me in the opportunities to make those plays. So I feel like this year, I've had some great conversations with my coaches and, again, feeling super healthy now. They always say coming off injury, it's your second year is your year. That's your big year where you just feel exactly the same. So I think it's going to be a big year for me. I think I'm going to obviously try to get to 1,000. I think that's the I was going to say, what do you want to get to 1,000 yards? For sure. That's the mark in the CFL,
It is a big,
especially as a young guy to go to the NFL. Like that's kind of what they say. Hey, go get 1,000 yards in the CFL, go dominate the CFL and we'll be calling. And I have a couple teams who are just kind of waiting for me to do that. So some big goals for me, but I think I can do it.
You want 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns?
Yeah, let's take it. 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns for sure.
That'd be huge.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah,
I like that goal. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's attainable.
So last thing before we move into our 10 questions, I kind of offered this to your brother, but if you guys ever want to be the Kelsey brothers, of the North, like we'll make that podcast.
That's awesome.
No, I think we should. I think it's
but like one of you has got to find like the Canadian Taylor Swift, right? That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Avril Lavigne.
I was going to say Avril Lavigne or like Shania Twain.
Something like
Still
that.
got it. She's great looking.
Yeah, she is.
I don't know who that would be right now. That's the thing.
I don't know. We'll have to get back on that one. That's a good deep thought question.
You know what? Anyone listening, like, make a little comment and just say like, who is the Canadian Avril or Canadian Avril Lavigne? Canadian Taylor
Who's our
Swift.
Northern Queen?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, the one that I would say that I could say off the top of my tongue, obviously she's an Alberta girl, so it kind of helps. Is I think Tate McRae, that's what her name is. Okay. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her, but
I know the name, but I don't. Yeah, know her music.
She's an up and coming pop star, and she's actually from Calgary, so super cool. There's some cool pictures and stuff they've posted with her in the Stampeders jerseys and stuff like that. But yeah, she's up and coming, so I think she'd
What's up, Tate
cool.
McRae? There we go.
Exactly. Yeah, I got a couple guys on my team who took a couple shots at her too. No responses back yet. So we'll see.
There you go. All right, so let's go into the 10 questions.
So Matt, man, I really think we should get the camera for this. I agree.
So how does this 10 questions work?
It's like gets really dark now.
Oh, that's it.
No, we ask you 10 questions.
Okay.
And you can either choose to answer it or you can choose to take a drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good thing I got some drink left.
Exactly.
There's no questions here. That they're all pretty easy fit questions, I think.
Perfect.
So. Yeah. Fairly tame for the most part.
Pretty tame. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's been a couple people who have asked us, like, hey, why don't you guys get on TikTok, you and Tyson? Like,
you guys totally should get on there and bust balls.
I know. They've definitely,
so fun to watch.
It's something that we've got.
The CFL needs it. They should be paying you guys to get on there and start like some CFL, TikTok, influencer type stuff. They get people in the door watching
I'd say
Canada
that's
football.
the one big thing that the CFL kind of is their marketing game. They've expanded a little bit. I've got a couple buddies who have started some podcasts and stuff like that in the CFL. At first wasn't very lenient about giving rights to any of their filming or any of their trademarks or anything like that. They finally
need to get it out there.
They finally last year, I think they picked like 6 guys and were like, okay, here's access to all of our stuff.
Give it to everybody.
Push the brand exactly.
For a year. And I know Showtime's pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. Showtime. That's my buddy Malcolm Lee who runs that, and he was one of the first guys to just kind of jump on the scene. But it's super cool, and it's something that they need to push. Even there's been some talks about just like getting CFL guys in Canadian commercials, just stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's super easy. Like
just start getting them in the culture of Canada, right?
I agree.
I mean, you got a great year to do it.
I agree.
Like I've never seen so much Canadian
push
mojo,
the narrative,
right?
For sure.
Thanks, Trump.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right? But he got people going.
He does,
which is really great.
Yeah.
And,
he united Canadians like a gold medal game versus the USA.
You know what, though? Actually, before we get into the 10 questions or whatever, we'll keep this in on this part at least. But like, hot take on that game that happened over the weekend, the NHL game, or not the NHL game.
Four Nations. It is an NHL game. It's the Four Seasons. It's organized by the NHL.
Yeah. Four Nations. Yeah.
But like, man, I didn't like seeing Canada boo America.
Oh, me neither.
You know what?
Yeah.
I mean, heart to heart. I mean,
I'm going to offer a different take.
Okay, let me finish. It's
you go ahead.
But like, I'm like, I'd be for it in a more playful situation.
Okay.
Than I would right now.
Fair enough.
Because Canadians are really hurting right now.
And
this stuff has potential to get very serious. Because you got a guy running the U.S. right now that's wacky, right? We don't know what he's going to do. All of this is made up from the beginning. It's like, it's like
straight out of the movie.
So we don't know what he's accusing us really of.
True
I mean,
enough.
fentanyl, like none of it really came through. A lot of these accusations are just wild and winded, right?
Yeah.
Canada has a right to be pissed off,
For sure.
but we also got a right to be, I think, like the smarter, better, stronger mentality type, and just say, look, we're not going to play none of that.
We're not playing into it.
These Americans here playing hockey today are good Americans, and we're not going to worry about them. We worry about the idiots that dictate a nation.
True enough.
No,
right?
and my gut feeling was pretty much everything. I agree with you. My gut feeling was kind of like, let's not do that.
Yeah.
But kind of hearing some other people out and kind of hearing some other takes and stuff like that, and the thought process was like, this is a man who is verbally and like essentially trying to attack our sovereignty.
True.
Yes.
If any other country was doing that, if all of a sudden North Korea was doing that, we'd be easily booing their anthem.
True.
Why are we giving them a pass? We need their people to sit there and go, Canada's been nothing but nice to us for like literally all of our existence.
That's what I want to see it from Americans, and I agree with you on that.
And it's like these guys are booing us and booing our anthem. It's like, maybe we did something wrong here. Maybe we need to rethink this.
But they didn't. Like, I mean, the thing is
we
like,
have to hold. That's the only way we can hold them accountable.
Yeah. But I would love to see Americans stand up a little and say, like, really? Canada?
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
And like, just look at the facts for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like, this guy is obviously space goating every single problem he's ever had.
He's a narcissist.
Blame it on other people, right? Like, it's so obvious.
He's a narcissist who constantly lies. He came out there and he said, like, oh, whoever made this trade deal with Canada is the worst person, like, worst deal. And then it's like, dude, you did it.
Exactly.
He made the deal.
You literally made the deal like 8 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, you're the idiot. You just called yourself dumb, right? So, I mean, it's anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much now in the media, and it's just digesting everything. And that's why, the CFL, I want us to be supportive of each other, inclusive to Canada. I want us to really just rise together and say, hey, look, we got a lot of great things going on right here, right? And
I agree.
Well, it puts me in a pickle because I'm dual citizen. So
are you?
I am, but it's one of those things where I would hand over that American citizenship real quick. So
don't say that. You might get get drafted, right? Yeah.
You want to play in the NFL?
Yeah, what's up, Canada boy?
I'll say the same thing. I'll say the same thing to your brother though. We need receivers in New England.
True enough. That's a very good point. That is a good point. Yeah,
and we have a history of Josh McDaniels is back, and we have a history of using running backs and receivers and stuff. So like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to 10 questions.
All right. So welcome to.
How are we starting? You want to start? Or you want me to start?
Sure.
So here we are. We have Matt Conrad,
Mike
Tobin, and
Jalen Philpot.
And here we are we just recorded a podcast. We're going to be doing some 10 questions. So, Jalen, what we got you to do is you need to take a drink if you don't want to answer the question. So we got 10 questions. They're mostly fun, but whatever. Throw a couple things out there and we'll see what happens.
Do you want to go first?
So you can go first.
All right. Who's the better CFL player, you or your brother?
I got to give that one to Tyson right now. He can have that one right now. I'll let him. I'm going to come back to it, though.
There's a little asterisk right there.
But you're coming for him.
Yeah, he is. He can have it for now.
Good answer.
That's a great answer. Yeah. Okay, what's your favorite route to run? What's your money?
Favorite route is probably I'm going to go 10-yard, 12-yard in route.
Okay.
So it's one of those ones where, I'm breaking in, but I kind of can give them a little something, make them think I'm running it out, make them go vertical. Everyone loves the deep routes.
Yeah, of course.
And everyone wants to score touchdowns, but I'm one of those guys where if I can efficiently run this route, then I think there's no way you can cover me. So I'm going to take an in route.
All right. I like that. You know what? I always liked, I'm not as athletic as you are. So I always liked that 5 to 7 in.
Yeah.
That was my money.
Yes.
I like being in the thick with the linebackers.
Find the holes and just hopefully you don't get your head taken off. That's the only thing about crossing the middle there.
That's true.
Okay. Who is your Mount Rushmore of football players?
Mount Rushmore. Let's go Barry Sanders for sure. He is a legend. I got to put a Pittsburgh Steeler in there, so I'm going to go Troy Polamalu. That's the defensive guy. You know, he made all the right plays. I got to go another Pittsburgh Steelers fan, too. I mean, another guy. I got to go Lynn Swan as well at wide receiver. Great. He was just physical and just awesome. And LaDainian Tomlinson, another guy that I really looked up to as a kid and just thought he was awesome.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. No quarterbacks.
Yeah. No quarterbacks. That's my personal
one. No, that's what we wanted. Yeah,
exactly.
It's exactly what we wanted. That's interesting. All right. So if you didn't play football, what would you do?
I'm really interested in, I think it might still happen, is firefighting. I think it's something I think it's super cool. You know, it's one of those things where adrenaline rushing, you know, obviously you get to save lives, and it's just one of the things where they're super well respected around the community too. So I think it plays hand in hand with sports and football. So 100%. Firefighting, I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Great answer. Yeah. All right. Should professional athletes be allowed to use steroids?
No, I'm going to answer that.
Why not?
It's cheating. You know, it's one of those things where I think it's just.
But it gets you going.
Yeah, it does. But
is it cheating if everyone's doing it though?
That's a good point. I guess.
I always ask that.
Yeah, that's the argument. I guess that is a fair argument, but you know, there's going to be a lot of people who are opposed to it. That's so I feel like you're not going to be able to find that balance. But I don't think it helps you in football either. Unless you're playing D-line or O-line where you just want to grab people. Like,
honestly, I would say in a contact sport, it probably doesn't help you because the injuries increase heavily with steroids.
That's true.
It works easily for baseball and stuff because there's no contact. But football, you get hit by a 300-pound man and you're on roids. Like, you can
those knees aren't holding like you.
Well, you want to talk, exactly. Yeah. You want to talk about like massive muscles on bones that get ripped off pretty easy.
True.
Oh yeah, that's what. Anyway.
Okay.
So your brother was very much into video games.
Yeah.
Are you also a gamer? And if so, what games?
Yes, I'm also a gamer as well. I'm big on Call of Duty right now, the new Black Ops. It's one of those ones where I played it as a kid, so it's super nostalgic to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I love the sports games too. I'm a big car. Like, I love the ones where you can mod cards, so like the Need for Speeds and stuff like that, where you can just modify the cars and make them super cool. That's one of the games I'm always playing too.
I like it.
If you could draft animals to play on a football team, what animals would you draft as QB?
Wide receiver, running back, tight end, and O-line.
You got 5 animals? We need 5 animals?
Yeah, you need 5 animals.
Okay, so quarterback. I think I'm going to go giraffe. You know, he can see the field. He's got a long neck, so if he's throwing it like with his neck,
not much of an arm, but
I can see everything.
You want the Brock Osweiler of quarterbacks.
Okay, he'll throw it with his mouth or something like that. Sure, slingshot it.
There we go.
All right, wide receiver.
Wide receiver. I guess giraffe would have been good for that one too, but cheetah. He's fast. Nice. You know, he'll go over the top of you.
That's a gimme.
Yeah.
Running back.
Give me a rhino.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking that.
Yeah. He's tough. You don't want to mess with him.
Tight end?
Let's go. It's a sticky one. I'm trying to find something that's balanced, you know. Give me a lion. He's fierce.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Feel it.
Yeah.
An O-line.
Hippo.
Yeah, there you go.
Hippo. Aggressive. Wide. Jeez. Don't want to mess with them.
All right, so next question. Finish this song lyric.
Okay.
Ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh
and so clean.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Job. He knows this.
Yeah.
He knows this. There you go. All right. What's the meaning to existence? Like human life. What's the meaning, man?
I'm a drink for that. I'm a drink for that one.
You don't want to answer that?
Existence. I'll drink for that one.
Too big of a question.
Sure.
That's fine. So last one. This is the common question that we're asking everybody this year.
Okay.
So what is one bit of advice that you were given that you would like to share with us and our listeners?
Okay. Obviously I've been given lots of advice from lots of speakers and stuff, but something that just kind of stuck with me was just something about just being humility. I think it's just being a human, you know, knowing that everyone is human. You know, it's something that I've learned, given the platform that I have right now, and being a professional football player, I do with air quotations, because to me, everyone is human. Everyone's normal.
Yeah.
So I think that's something super cool that I keep with me, is that even though people get put up on this pedestal or people think they're celebrities and kind of stuff, everyone's human. So I kind of like to just treat everyone the same. If I meet a superstar out in wherever, I'm just going to talk to them like a normal person, just because I just think that everyone's looking for that, and especially a guy coming from who, people are always watching you and keeping a close eye on you and stuff like that. People like me are people who just want to meet other people who are just super normal, just down to earth, and just human, exactly like that. So I think something is just be very nice, obviously, but just treat everyone like they're human and just respectful. And I think
everyone wants that.
Treat people like they're human.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I like it. It's probably refreshing for people who get a lot of attention and things like that.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing when people meet me. They're like, "You're not who I thought you were," and I was like, "It's because I'm human. I'm normal." Like whenever I meet these little kids, they're like, "Oh, I get to meet this superstar," and I'm like, "Hey guys, I was just like you 10 years ago. I looked up to guys too." So it's normal. And that's why I say it's full circle for me, especially being able to play in the Canadian Football League as a fan, as a little kid, is I just looked up to it. I always wanted to do it. So now I just get to see those little kids and look up and see them. And
Jalen, perfect answer, man.
Yeah, perfect answer.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
It was really great. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Perfect.
You nailed it. Man.
Easy.
Great job.
No, I love that. Thank you. I like to talk sometimes, so.
Thank you for listening to The Afternoon Pint. We are an independent podcast and we need your support. Please take a moment to hit that like, follow, and share button. Email us if you have an idea or suggestion for the show. Please send your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.